I went to New York for 24 hours and then I went camping right after for 3 days. So I had quite a week. I was sent to New York by Spotify, which is really, really cool. It was to attend a podcast recording for Service95, which is Dua Lipa's platform, but then also there's a podcast and book club. Dua herself was interviewing David Szalay, the author of Flesh, which is a Booker Prize shortlist title for this year, which was really exciting. So I was going to attend that, but then the people at Spotify were like, do you want to also come and meet David and ask him a couple questions for socials, whatever? And there was like no pressure and I could just do whatever I want. But then I showed up to the Spotify offices. As soon as I landed, it was the first thing that I had to do. And it was like a full Spotify podcast set, full professional cameras recording our conversation. So it was really cool and it was a great conversation and he was really amazing. I'll put a clip here of our chat. So we've already established you're from Montreal. I'm from Montreal. Well, technically.
Technically, yeah. I was born in Montreal.
Fun fact for you, at the library, your book is in the Quebec authors section.
It should be.
It's so funny to me. I was like, oh, that's true. That's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, the interview went great. The footage has like weird audio, which I don't know what that's about, but I think I'm going to write up a little something on my Substack about our conversation and the questions that I asked him and all of that, because he had a lot of really interesting things to say. And I think it'd be cool to celebrate his like shortlist for the Booker as well. And so that was my day. And then I got to hang out with my friends in New York, which is really cool. So I hung out with Eliza and Susie. I used to go to New York all the time for work. So I just went to like spots that I really like in Soho and the Lower East Side. And we just like went about our day like all over the place.
Yeah, it'll go well with that, but thanks. And she's the woman that.
And so tonight is the event. It's just, you know, me and Dua Lipa back to back interviewing David. It's no big deal. Yeah, I'm excited about tonight. I don't know what I'm wearing yet. I brought a million options, even though I'm only here for a day. I only packed a carry-on. I was reasonable, but I don't know. It's really, really hot in New York. Why is it so hot in New York? It's September. Give me fall weather. It's so annoying. This is what I'm wearing. Just little loafers, double RL jeans, vintage, J. Crew, polo, a little blazer, my old Marc Jacobs bag that I love. I think this is going to be cute. So the event itself was really cool. Dua Lipa is so smart. Her questions were amazing. Some of her questions overlapped because, you know, great minds think alike. And their conversation was really fun. And it was short. I was like, oh, I felt like I could listen to them forever. But I think it was like an hour and a half maybe. And then afterwards, I hung out with Lauren, big book lady. We were the two Canadians at least, sent by Spotify, which I was like, me and her. I mean, what an honor. I was gagged. And she's so cool and it was so fun. We went to the bar where in Gossip Girl, Nate and Serena like dance on tables and I think lose their virginities to each other. And then we went back to the hotel and had drinks there too. And then the next morning I was flying out. So I left. I left New York and then truly minutes later I got in the car and I went camping for 3 days. I went to this place called Poisson Blanc, which is like a few hours from Montreal, very like iconic, apparently. And so what happens is you get there, it's canoe camping. So you get there, you get a canoe, and then you paddle to your like camping spot. And canoeing is really hard, harder than I remember, hard to navigate, hard to steer, hard to do all of that. And we canoed for like 2 hours about to get to our spot. Our campsite was really cool. It was like a private little island, which I thought was so cool. And there was like a little alcove in it. So it was really fun for swimming. It was really fun for frogs. There was frogs everywhere. That was really cool. And the campsite itself was so pretty. So just like so serene, such a beautiful time. So fun to touch grass once in a while. And while I was there, I read 2 books into completion. So I want to tell you about them. I read Heart the Lover by Lily King, which is so good. This comes out October 7th, so it's out in a little bit. And it was exceptional. I could not read it as soon as I got it. I really loved Writers and Lovers by Lily King, and this has a similar vibe. It's essentially told in 2 parts. The first is a girl that goes to college and then meets a boy, and then she has sort of a love triangle with that guy's friend. And it's really messy and it's really complicated, but there's so much like emotional realism in the relationships and the dialogue, and it's all just like so loud and resonant and like really beautiful. And then the second part is them like 20 years later. I loved this. I cried my little heart out. Lily King is such an underrated author. I feel like a lot of people in like the litfic book talk space talk about her, but then I don't hear about her elsewhere. I barely ever see her at a bookstore. So I'm like, she needs to be on everyone's lips because Writers and Lovers is like one of my favorite books. So good. I can't wait to reread it. And this was just as good. And so I am a huge Lily King fan from now until forever, I think. And then I read Stoner by John Williams, which came out in the 60s. This is a classic that I've wanted to read for a really long time now, and I finally got around to it. And I'm so happy that I did, because this is the kind of book where it's really quiet and still, and it's about the mundane, and it's about like a typical life, and there's nothing really exceptional that happens, but it sort of like shifts the ground beneath you without you knowing it. I read like 75% of it, and I was like, yeah, like it's good. I'm on an island reading it, which is cool. But then I finished it and I realized everything that had impacted me throughout the novel, what it meant, what it was saying, all of these things. It was really a really, really beautiful reading experience. And I think this is the kind of book you need to read quickly. I think if I was like reading this and it was on my bedside table for like 2 months, I'm not going to like it. I think you have to read it like within the span of a couple weeks or a month to really get the full effect. But I really loved it. It was so beautiful and quiet and like sad, and I had so much pity for the character, but that was kind of the point. It's about a man who, in the beginning of the 1900s, he's growing up poor on a farm in Missouri, and then he goes to school. He gets a chance to go to school for agriculture, but then when he's there, he decides to pivot into literature, English literature. And that's like the only decision he makes his entire life. The rest of it is like the life that happens to him in marriage, parenthood, academia, becoming a teacher, all of those things. There's so much that happens, but none of it feels extreme in any way. It feels really gray and sad. And there's just so much to get from this novel, and I really loved it. And I know that I'm going to read this like over and over again for years to come. That's it. That was my wild week where I went from concrete jungle to touching grass. I hope to go to New York again soon because I really loved it and I didn't have enough time there. I would have extended the trip, but because of our camping trip, it was like it didn't make sense to do that. And I found out about it so last minute that I couldn't extend it the other way. I just love New York. It's really fun. Even though it's like the most exhausting city. At least when you're like in Manhattan. I didn't even get to go to Brooklyn this time, which is usually where I go. But I love it. And I love the books that I read on our little camping trip. I also read parts of Bread of Angels. Is that what it's called? The Bread of Angels, the new Patti Smith memoir, which I did finish now and is so beautiful. Incredible writer, incredible artist, incredible human. Can't believe we exist on the same timeline as her. Like, so cool. But that was my week. I would love to know how your week is going, what books you're reading. So let me know in the comments. I can't wait to read. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.